Hello all, it's Jaames Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade, and it is now the 20th of January, Inauguration Day. Trump has left the White House peaceably. Nothing seemingly has transpired in Washington. But elsewhere, in the usual places with the usual people, Portland and Seattle, the two left-wing cesspit models of what the left wants to do to the entire fucking country, you have the typical, normal, out-of-control, leftist terrorists destroying the country. Let's go ahead and watch.
The banner declaring, "We don't want Biden, we want revenge."
Yeah, so the far left isn't content with Biden. Interestingly, the far left seems to, how do we put this? It's probably easier to watch. Let's find some comments here. Yeah, right about here.
Black America, in which there is no real justice.
A large group gathered under the pavilion here at Irving Park. Activists spoke on issues including abolishing police, passing the Green New Deal, protecting immigrants, and other social justice topics.
We need to be more organized and more powerful than we have ever been before.
Organized by the Defend Democracy Coalition, the group says they're glad Donald Trump has left 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but they're not putting their faith in a Biden presidency.
We have a president in the White House who does not want the change that we need.
Joe Biden is a feckless puppet of the centrist Democratic establishment who is only president because of his ties to corporate interests.
And that was a mouthful of truth being said by the far left of this country, the craziest fucking individuals in this country. So the far left of the left knows exactly who the fuck Joe Biden is. But they want to make their model communist fucking state in the United States. Where they get this idea that communism is such a wonderful establishment, I have no fucking idea. Did they sleep through every history class they've ever been a part of? And then, furthermore, I love mainstream media who evidently slept through all of their history classes when they keep comparing the alt-right, the far-right. I'm far-right, by the way. I'm just a normal, moderate American who used to vote Democrats sometimes and Republicans sometimes, who's been shoved to the right on the political sphere. But now I'm alt-right. I'm far-right. I'm a crazy freaking right Nazi, according to these mainstream media types who evidently don't know their fucking history. Nazis were far left. Newsflash. But, you know. So anyway, here we are in the US with exactly that, a feckless, useless politician in the White House who hopefully is going to be impeached on day one. Which then leaves us with a worse person in the White House, Kamala Harris, who actually has a functioning brain. Whether or not the brain is of high quality is a whole different story, but she actually has a functioning brain and knows how to get out of bed in the morning and put on her shoes. So that's a little scarier because she is a communist. And she'll get the keys to the country. And then waiting in the wings behind her is Nancy Pelosi, which is just as bad as Kamala Harris. So really, this country is truly fucked. And why is it truly fucked? Because a bunch of people on the fucking right wanted to have a temper tantrum in Georgia and decide not to fucking vote. Thank you, bunch of assholes in Georgia. But I digress. I'm angry with my brothers in Georgia. But it is what it is. We are where we are. So what do we fucking do from here? I don't fucking know. We're winning the culture war. That is apparent. But we've lost this. We're losing the initial battles of this civil war. And believe me, it is a civil war. How long is it until we're going to start being rounded up and put into concentration camps by the left? You might think I'm being hyperbolic and overly conspiratorial when I say that. But the censorship is in full kilt. It's happening all over the internet. Conservatives are being silenced. We're having to decentralize and get into decentralized platforms like locals that thankfully exist. However, let's face it, a locals community like Dave Rubin has set up is certainly a wonderful tool, but it's fairly not really user friendly. We already live in an internet land where there's far too many passwords, far too many sites, far too many usernames, far too many things we have to keep track of. And if we add the realm of social discourse into having 52 different sites with 52 different passwords, that only makes the internet even more of a monstrosity to try to manage for the normal human being. And so what will inevitably happen is a bunch of people are going to end up in their little pockets of the internet. You know, you'll have people hanging out on the Tulsi Gabbard local page, or the Dave Rubin local page, or this local page, or that local page. Or you have all the leftists who freely get to run around in the YouTube sphere and shout their obscenities unchallenged against the right because nobody's left to have a discourse with them. But what do we do as a country? How do we stop this? What can we do on the right today? I've been pondering this thought a lot lately, and I think there's only one clear-cut advice I can give to people on the right, and that is, if you're in a blue state, get the fuck out. Seriously, you need to move to a red state. You need to get the hell out of the blue states. Now, that only further worsens the divide in the short term. And that's true. My advice is based on there is no fixing the country right now. And if we can get everyone in the right, rounded up into the right, then the right needs to go ahead then and break away. We need to decouple. We need to peaceably transition away from the communist states of America. Let them go. Get rid of these crazy fuckers. More power to them. Let them wreck their blue states and let us thrive in our red states. I think that's the only bona fide realistic path we have going forward. And I am not telling anyone to do this. I am sharing this as a way that you could show your ire, your political ire. You can make, you know how, protests, if you, I don't know, sit down in a walkway of a mall or whatever, you're blocking people's path, and it's kind of a dickhead thing to do, but it's better than not blocking paths, because if you don't block paths, nobody gives a shit about your protest, and they just walk around you and they don't hear what you're saying. Now, I'm not saying go block off malls or go sit in freeways or anything like that, because I don't really think that will have any type of effect. I don't think peaceful protests are going to do jack shit for the right causes. I think the only type of peaceful protest that the right can make is if we band together and stop paying our federal income tax. And I'm not telling you to stop paying your federal income tax. Let's be very straight about that. I am not advocating for you to do that. I'm telling you that is an option you have if you feel compelled to try to what is that word I'm looking for? To try to make a political statement to the government. And the reason I say federal income tax is because if you're living in a red state, more than likely your local state government is fine. Your local governance isn't crazy. So keep funding the non-crazy local government and stop funding the crazy federal government. And while I highly doubt that there will be enough people with balls to actually make a difference, it would be nice to think that every Republican could stand together in solidarity and actually not pay their tax to the illegitimate tyrant in office. But I don't see us having enough willpower. We constantly get walked over by the left, and we constantly allow it. We don't seem to have a whole lot of gumption on the right. We don't seem to have a whole lot of spine on the right. We seem to have the same modus operandi, and that's to lock our lips, say nothing, and cry as more of our civil liberties are taken away, and get frustrated and vent to someone in private about it. And until that modus operandi stops, until the American populace says enough is enough, the elites, the establishment elites, the Wall Street types, the big business types, the people who are getting rich off these lockdowns, who love the authoritarian control that the lockdowns give them, they're only going to get worse. They're only going to get worse. But yeah, as we can see, Joe Biden's in office and nothing has changed. Same people, breaking the same windows, causing the same property damage, crying for the same shit, are still at it. But now we just have more craziness. We have open calls for re-education camps. We have open calls for well, basically anything that the Democrats can do to turn our country into a single party system where they have absolute authoritarian control. I'll tell you another country that's a single party system with absolute authoritarian control that you don't want to fucking live in, and that's China. And these Democrats are not going to be happy until they turn this great fucking country of ours into China. And that's all I have for you today. I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all, peace.